So just how biased is the family court system against fathers? I have been seeing a growing number of TikToks and YouTubes and Rumbles and X, wherever else, videos on the topic of fathers and custody and treachery that is put against them. So I decided to delve into the topic, research the matter, and I found some alarming statistics, but also, mind you, some very hopeful and encouraging ones as well. I had actually come in contact with a man recently who suffered this very thing. He was telling me his wife filed an ex parte against him. Now, an ex parte, for those who don't know, is something that you use an emergency order for. Normally, you file for a court date and it takes a month, 2, 3, who knows how long, depending on how clogged up the system is. An ex parte, you get in there right away, usually within several days. And that ex parte is usually only one person present. You don't even have to inform the other party, depending on what you're going in there for. So, he had been hit with this ex parte protective order, thrown out the house, banned from the children. He's off in some crummy hotel or something, fighting his way through it. And that stuck out to me because I have been seeing so many of these videos online lately, and then to come across one just by chance, right there I saw him, and I took this as a sign that this perhaps needs to be talked about more. This is becoming a larger problem, especially after the Me Too movement, where women think, I'll just accuse him of anything. That's my golden parachute. I don't like what happened. Well, he did this. The fabrications abound. So men, this is the time for you to need to stand up, to combat these falsities. To give you a few to start with, the numbers we're looking at here, they say, fathers are primary custodians in about what percent of cases overall? What percent are we looking at? What do you guess? 40, 30, 5? I'll tell you, it is around 18% of the time fathers have primary custody of the children. That means the children live with them primarily. The father makes the overall major decisions. Time-wise, it says mothers get roughly 65% of the parenting time, and fathers, on average, get 35%. To note, these are mostly from uncontested cases, meaning they're not fought over. They divorce, something happens, they don't want to go to court, they don't want to go here, so this is the general scenario that you find yourself in. And so you have to wonder, why is that the case? And it goes into what I believe is a societal issue. Actually, it parallels the black community quite heavily when you think about it. But for instance, think of this, if you will, for a moment, how fathers, men in general, are taught to think that the family court system is heavily biased against them, that they hate fathers, they always favor the mother. Oh, you'll never win, you'll never be able to do anything. If a mother says it, she gets it, and that's the end of it. From a societal standpoint, that is what the culture has led you to believe. And I say it parallels the black community because, not to get off track here, but it reminds me of the black community saying they have systemic racism against them and they can't get ahead because everyone is out to get them and push them down. But then you see, what's this? There is a large sector of black people, men and women, who have succeeded greatly beyond the expectations that were told of them. Fancy houses, high-end jobs, government positions of power. Wow, I believe one was even the president. So you have to wonder, why is that they are told as a community, as a culture, that they are so downtrodden and can't succeed? Why would that be imposed on them by others? And we circle back over to fathers now, where you hear the men talking on all these TikToks and whatnot, where they are in the negative position. Society tells them, you cannot win. You are going to lose. There's no chance. Why bother? You're just going to fail anyway. And so that leads us here to why many fathers, men, will not even consider the option of contesting it if it is imposed against them, and they are told by friends and family, looking online, oh, you'll never win, don't bother. It makes sense that they don't actually make an effort. But now I bring us to some other alarming stats here when it comes to fathers. Now, this is for those who decided, I actually don't want to agree to what I am being told. I think that's incorrect. I don't think that's right. So what we find here is that fathers who request primary custody and litigate win roughly 50% of the time. Now, if they have been a strong caregiver, which means they weren't just off at work 8-10 hours a day with dear loving mother at the house doing the caregiving. In that scenario, it does make sense that one caregiver would say, okay, they have been the primary caregiver looking after the children. So in those cases, it does favor. So if father has a strong involvement, his case goes up from 50 to 70% or so. And if they can show credible concerns about the mother for one reason or another, that jumps up over 60% of the time. And one of those concerns that has been floating around here is when women pull the nuclear button, when they hit that, flip open the top and hit that red button. And that is known as a restraining order, protective order, where they scream abuse, danger, oh God, he's a maniac, he's a psycho, he's insane. And they file these with the courts, and they're making allegations, accusations of, could be violence, SA, could be against the mother, could be against the children. They want to get the men out so they come up with whatever they need to say to sound good to a judge. And in these cases, I believe it's something around 98% of all initial protective orders like that are granted. And that is with the man not even being present. Those get granted by the woman simply showing up and testifying. The man, most of the time, is not even aware that she is down there until he gets a knock on the door. Hello, hey, buddy, it's the sheriff. Your ass is out. That's the first time they hear about it. And we go back to the stats here. So judges like to grant those just to be safe at the initial point, but that is not a long-term order. That is much lower for those to be granted for a long, ban from seeing this and doing here kind of protective order, but it is used as a nuclear button at the initial to throw the husband out and ban him from seeing the children. So in those cases of misuse of protective orders here we look at, allegations are unsubstantiated, not supported. Or if they are knowingly false allegations, we see the stats rise to a father getting custody, a primary custody of the children here, rise all the way up to, say it with me now, what does it go from? They go from 18% have primary. But if the mother has misused the court system, abused it, exploited it, done this nuclear option, filed a false allegation that can be shown that it was not in the best interest of the children and it was fabricated, the odds go roughly, I'm looking here at them, anywhere from 70 to 85% in favor of the father being granted primary custody. 70 to 85%. Just an astronomical. Imagine you are sick with some sort of debilitating illness. You have an ailment that bothers you every day. And someone says, listen, I've got this treatment plan for you here. It's going to take about a year. It's going to cost you a lot of money. It's going to be annoying. It's going to be painful. You're going to have to put in a lot of effort. But at the end of it, should you stick with it, we give you around 70 to 85% odds of being cured, of finding yourself on the other side of this. Now, what sick person would not take that deal? What sick person is going to hear those odds and think, God, you know what, I'm fine walking with this limp and being unable to stand up here. I think I'll just go on my merry way and not bother with it. So here is what I say to the fathers, to the men out there, that society has told you you will lose, that you stand no chance. You must think of it as a swinging of the pendulum. We are entering a time when the family court system is now kind of swinging back over towards the father's side. So if you have children, think of the example you would wish to set. Would you like them to hear that somebody told you you stood no chances, so you gave up on it? Or would you like to set the example of someone who took the chance? Now, I say that if you happen to be one of those lovely men out there who are accused of certain heinous acts, and you actually committed them, say you're on video, whacking your wife and beating the children, I mean, your odds are probably going to be a little bit lower of succeeding here. But assuming that's not you, assuming that you did actually have false accusations put against you, then as you see by the stats here, your odds are, find me a better set of odds than nearly any other variety of life, any other avenue. And I think you'd be hard-pressed to do it. So, men, if you have a brother, a father, a friend, a neighbor, whoever, and is going through certain things like this, just remember, it can't be fixed with one man, but that can begin the avalanche. Just as Rosa Parks on the bus started that up, she said, I'm not getting up here today. That starts the spread of the wildfire. One little smoke starts up, and it sets up others who join in there. So men, it is not only rationally and logically sound in your favor to pursue this, but ethically and morally, it is almost an imperative that you would do so. Because what is the alternative if you do not? What precedent are you setting? If you had a son, as I said, if you had a child, and this happened to them, they came by, little Billy says, oh my God, Stephanie says I did something bad to her, now I'm thrown out. Would you say, oh, sorry, Billy, that sucks, but at least you got to see your kids for a few months there. Now, well, you just, write them a letter in a few years and say goodbye to them. Is that what you would tell them? Or would you say, hey, listen up here, Billy. Now, I think if you are innocent, we have a good shot at this. We have a good chance of you securing something favorable here, and I think we should pursue it. And that, my friends, is what I leave you with here, is that there is a swinging of the pendulum, a changing of the tide, a shifting of the current here, and that every man put in this position should know better. It may seem very difficult initially. You might be right here in seeing that everything is stacked against you, seemingly because, as I said, society paints it that way. They have, especially mothers, and I say mothers because, again, statistically, there is a great benefit in mothers convincing you that this is true now, because then you will be less apt to fight them, to battle them, legally, mind you. Must be done legally. This isn't some underhanded, sneaky thing going in the back window and trying to abscond with the children like some damn fool. We're talking legal-minded rights here. So, you can put up with the trouble and see it through to the end. Or, I suppose you can roll over and blame society for your troubles. Now, boys and gals, as always, Ghostmas is going to take a little break. So until next time, I'll see you on the other side.